Released in America on October 14, 2014 for the PlayStation Vita and June 1st, 2016 on Steam, Senran Kagura Shinovi Versus is a hack-and-slash action game, and before I go further, let me just get this out of the way now. This game is very sexual. 80% of the characters have big breasts, and you could dress up the characters in tons of revealing outfits and different kinds of panties that would have a horny 16-year-old that just learned the word hentai ejaculate so hard he would come out his own skeleton. But if you can look past that, don't think about that visual, and remember that there's actually a game attached to all this, you won't probably be surprised how good this game actually is. The Versus games are sort of like a sub-series to Senran Kagura, with the main series usually being on the 3DS, but there is a remake of the first game on PS4 currently in Japan. The main series plays like side-scrolling beat-em-ups and are more story-oriented, dealing with Yamata no Orochi and her gaggle of demons called Yoma that come for the backlands of your nightmares. And these two that look like they walked out of a Shin Megami Tensei game. Shinovi Versus is about a shinobi battle royale, where our 4 groups of characters must fight to determine the best shinobi, but it's also more about the characters themselves and their relationships with their friends as well as their rivals. See, Senran Kagura is about a bunch of high school girls being trained in the art of ninjutsu so they can one day become a Kagura, a high-ranking shinobi who specializes in slaying demons. There are 3 schools and 1 group of renegades, each with tons of different kinds of characters that have their own reason to be here. Whether they were pressured by family, just want to be helpful, have their own agenda, or want to protect those close to them, you'll find all sorts of different personalities and character arcs as you play through the game. Some of my favorites include Yomi, a sweetheart that holds a powerful resentment for wealthy people due to living in poverty so bad that it led to her parents dying of malnutrition while dozens of wealthy people would walk by and not spare a dime. Daidoji, an incredibly powerful student that trains constantly so that she can one day have a match against her rival and best friend Rin, who also has the simplest but coolest design of the game, being inspired by Bancho and looking like a female version of Jotaro Kujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. There's Hikage, an orphan that grew up with a street gang that has no emotions, for some reason. I pretty much love any time she's on screen because of her deadpan reactions to everything. There's Yozakura, a no-nonsense girl with cool, powerful gauntlets that became a shinobi to keep her family of 12 younger siblings together after her mother and father were killed. There's Riona, a cute, unstable masochist that fabricates a ditzy persona to deceive people and throw them off guard. And finally, there's Miyabi. Oh my god, Miyabi. Miyabi is super cool. Her design is awesome, she's got a gray morality that's always teetering on going full black or full white, and then there's her backstory. Miyabi lost her mother to a Yoma that crushed her head right in front of Miyabi when she was a child. This resulted in Miyabi enrolling to become a Kagura. During a mission with her best friend Imu, several other ninja, and 1 Kagura, a Yoma took them by surprise, killing nearly everyone. Miyabi, enraged by this, tapped into a forbidden ninja art known as the Blood Riot that increased her power tenfold. With this, she was able to kill the Yoma, but this came at a price. Miyabi became a force of destruction, losing all self-control until Imu was able to counteract the Blood Riot and stop her. Miyabi was then left in a catatonic state with no memories besides the fact that she and Imu were the only survivors on that mission. After 3 years of being hospitalized, Miyabi snapped out of her haze upon seeing her school burning in the distance thanks to an attack by Orochi. Both Miyabi and Imu rushed to the scene only to be met with rubble, a pile of corpses, and Orochi nowhere to be seen. With this and the memory of that mission ringing in her head, Miyabi decided that she would help rebuild not only the school, but also the honor they lost thanks to the demon snake known as Yamata no Orochi. If there's anything you should take from that, it's that while this series is bright, colorful, and at times silly, it's equally dark and depressing, showing loss, failure, and the want to overcome it. I can easily spend a lot of time talking about other good characters in this game, but I believe it's about time we talked about the gameplay. It's mission-based, where you can not only play through a campaign depending on the school, but you can also play through short stories centering around one of the characters. Each character has their own weapons and therefore their own fighting style. While some characters might have similar weapons, no two play alike. so be sure to try out the character's short stories to get familiar with how the character plays. In battle, much like other hack and slash games, you have your normal weak and strong attacks that can be chained together into combos. You run around beating up mooks and progressing through different areas. Most of the time, once you defeat all the mooks present in a stage, your main opponent, another shinobi, will show up for a battle. After completing your mission, you will be graded based on your performance, and you'll also get Zenny, your currency of the game, as well as experience, which gaining enough of will level you up, increasing your HP, attack, and defense. There's two other factors to Senran Kagura's gameplay. The first is clothing damage. As you take damage, the durability of your outfit decreases. If it gets to certain thresholds, it will start to get shredded up. If your outfit is completely destroyed, your defense will decrease, leaving you vulnerable to punishing attacks by your opponents. But don't fret, as this also applies to your opponents as well. The second is transformations. You have two of these. The first is Shinobi Transformation, which has you donning your shinobi attire, changing your attacks, fully recovering your health from its current state, and gaining access to your ninja arts, basically your special moves. The second transformation is Frantic Mode, which instead of donning new clothes, you explode your clothes off down to your bra and panties. Doing this not only gives you access to your ninja arts as well, but also grants increased power, speed, and mobility at the cost of low defense. Both of these transformations tie into a gameplay mechanic known as the Flower of Balance. Basically, depending if you spend more time in your normal attire, Shinobi Transformation, or Frantic Mode, you'll gain bonuses like more experience for normal, automatic health recovery for Shinobi, and increased attack for Frantic. All these elements come together for a very enjoyable game that, while heavy on the fan service, is not strictly about that. I can understand if people find this game off-putting. It's not for everyone, but if you're a person that isn't bothered by sexual stuff, you'll find an exceptional game that was one of the 3 reasons I ever got a PlayStation Vita. And if a game is good enough that I would buy a Vita and it isn't Persona 4 Golden, then you know it's something to possibly look into. With all that said, that was my video on Senran Kagura Shinovi Versus. Let me know if you have any experience with this series, but only if you want to. Guys, be safe out there, and thank you so much for watching.